ABC News, New
Yep,
York.
now we are.
CDC now recommends people
All
put
right,
on cloth
kid, I see
face
you in a second.
coverings when going outside
Right
as a
back.
coronavirus precaution. Dr. Todd Ellerin, ABC News medical contributor and director of infectious diseases at South Shore Health in Weymouth, Massachusetts, says it's not as good as a medical mask, but cloth may be the next best thing.
They may prevent you from spreading virus to another person, but they may not prevent you from acquiring the virus. So still, the social distancing, the stay-at-home guidance is most important, and don't forget to wash your hands.
In the midst of the coronavirus crisis, President Trump abruptly firing the Inspector General of the intelligence community on Friday. Michael Atkinson handled the whistleblower complaint that triggered President Trump's impeachment hearings. The president said in a letter that it's vital that he has confidence in his appointees and that he was no longer the case with Atkinson. You're listening to ABC News.
The number of COVID-19 cases in Ohio has surpassed 3,312 to be exact. The death toll, meanwhile, nears 100. 91 people so far have died from the disease across Ohio. New figures come out at 2 this afternoon. Dr. Heidi Gilbert, who is the medical director for Cuyahoga County's health department, says these numbers are not easy to compile.
It's a little hard for us to present that because the testing is being done at so many different places. And so we're having to really pull together a lot of disparate or different data sources in order to understand the true percent positive for our community.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine says he's going to ask judges to consider releasing a handful of prison inmates to help protect them from coronavirus. We're talking about pregnant women, women who have just given birth, and inmates over the age of 60. Live Nation concert promoters have established a charitable fund to help support concert crews around the world who are out of work. Barry Gable is with Live Nation in Cleveland.
Hey,
Well,
Big
what
M.
we did was we launched this virtual
Hey, my
hub
computer's
called Live
restarting,
from Home.
but I can
And
see your
basically it's updated with
messaging
daily artist
through my
live
phone.
streams,
So
content,
if you need
and,
something, just do it and I'll watch for it.
information about the industry and music in general.
Hocking Hill State Park in southeast Ohio is closed. The ODNR
All
says
right.
hikers there couldn't practice social distancing because the park trails are so narrow. The annual walleye run is coming to an abrupt halt in the town of Fremont because of the coronavirus. City officials in
Yep, and then
Fremont
JC.
closed
Yep.
fishing access to the Sandusky
Coolness.
River, citing the high number of
All right,
anglers from around the Midwest who could spread COVID-19. Metro Parks Toledo officials say they will keep the Maumee River open for fishing, but they're calling on anglers to practice social distancing while they reel in walleye. For more on the coronavirus, go to the iHeartRadio app and tap the podcast tab for the latest news and information. I'm Tom Moore.
Filling your news feed with the top trending news at the top and bottom of the hour. Columbus's news is on News Radio 610 WTBN.
The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center extends its gratitude to the first responders, healthcare workers, and researchers who are helping keep Columbus safe, and a thank you to community members doing their part by staying home.
One of the biggest issues for men over the age of 55 is erectile dysfunction. Newly introduced European technology is now available. It has been proven to be over 85% successful in treating erectile dysfunction. Medical professional and top local doctor for erectile dysfunction, Dr. Ronald Brown.
Erectile dysfunction for men of all ages has become much more common. In fact, most men don't realize that 90% of erectile dysfunction is a direct result of broken down old blood vessels. This causes a lack of blood flow, which is critical in achieving an erection. With our state-of-the-art technology, we're able to rid those blood vessels of the plaque and scar tissue buildup and stimulate new stem cell growth right in our office with no downtime, no medications, and no pain.
To book your consultation and get back to natural functionability, call 614-739-8181. That's 614-739-8181. Get intimacy you deserve naturally. Call now at 614-739-8181. That's 614-739-8181.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Uh-oh. Settle down, everybody. Settle down.
Wow. I really can't believe all the people coming out again.
Crazy.
Wow. Thank you, guys. Welcome to On Target. I am your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios with a bunch of friends that are out there. And, of course...
social distancing.
Right. You know how hard it is to have 1,000 people all 6 foot apart? I mean, it's as far as I can see, Ed.
I know. We can't even get a camera that wide to get everybody in there.
That is true. Well, we are live from the studios of LAPD Firearms and Range and Training Facility that's located at 999 Bethel Road. I'm your host, Eric, along with my father, Phil. Guys, in these times, I look for the positives. You have to. You have to look beyond what's immediately in front of us and think of what's positive out there and know that we're going to get through it. And you really see the true characters of businesses and individuals during these times. And having said that, I want to give a shout out to a business that I frequented this week. I went over to, I don't know if I told you, Ed, or not.
No.
I went over and was able to purchase 8 gallons of hand sanitizer.
No kidding.
And 2 bottles of bourbon.
Really?
Oh,
And two bottles
of bourbon
at Watershed Distillery. It was the greatest thing. You drove right up. They had hand sanitizer. They had bourbon. They had whatever you wanted right there.
Well, I'm going to have to refill my hand sanitizer bottle. When you
that accounts for it. I was drinking something that didn't taste like bourbon.
Yeah, don't drink that part of it. That yes.
No, you didn't.
But
tell
see, you
me
know
that.
what? They cover. They're covering everything. You have your external hand sanitizer. You have your internal sanitizer. I mean, what more could you want?
That's true.
Right there.
And if you run out of hand sanitizer, bourbon will work too.
Well, it is true. A little bit more expensive, though. And so I'd like to give a shout out and thank those guys for taking care of us because we actually purchased some of that for the township as well. So they were, and they certainly helped out first responders. So it was a great thing. So it's neat to see businesses.
Or the bourbon or the sanitizer?
Both.
Yeah, they got it in the cruisers.
Both.
Can you turn up my volume so I can?
Why do we go through this?
So I
every
can
week?
hear myself talk. No, that part's good. Okay.
We're live on the show, guys.
Why don't we wait till
right off?
We pay by the minute.
Let's get this out of our system right now. Big Ed, you're on probation. You don't get here 5 minutes before the show starts.
I was here 10 minutes till.
No, you weren't.
And I still had to wait.
No. Okay.
Well, we are the owners of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility and are active law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, has always been to bring you the facts about our industry and ultimately help our listeners and customers with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. Today on the show, as usual, we're cramming 2 hours into 1 hour. Hey, Em, how about we just blow through commercials today? Can we do that?
You're funny.
Okay, maybe we won't be able to do quite that, but we do have a lot to pack in today. In the course of in stating the state of the industry and what we're seeing here, we're also going to hear from our Lieutenant Governor. He's calling in at 12:30, taking the time out of his schedule, and man, what a schedule they've been keeping. So we're going to hear from Lieutenant Governor John Husted at the bottom of the hour, as long as Emily answers the phone on that. And then we're going to...
She's going to cut you off, Eric. You watch it now.
She knows there's nothing but love there.
It's about to be Pawpaw Show.
The old Pawpaw Show.
No,
All right.
we like to give her a hard time. But then our good friend Rex Gore is going to call in about 12:45 from Blackwing Shooting Center. Let us know what he's seeing up there, a little bit of a different perspective on the industry, and he's been around for a while, and so maybe he can help us get through some of these tough times from what he's seen in the past. So we look forward to seeing him or hearing from him at 12:45. We also wanted to thank Nick, who called in last week from Liberty Ammunition. A great, wonderful product, and something that we, of course, carry here in the store, and look forward to dealing with him in Liberty Ammunition going forward. And, of course, our good friend, Attorney General Dave Yost, actually stopped by at a safe distance last week and joined us here in the studio.
Yes,
so that was a nice surprise to see him. And let's see. So today we'd like to thank our sponsors. That is going to be Rampart Hosting, Toyota West, Jackson Lawn Care and Egress Windows, Trigger Group, Blackwing Shooting Center, River's Edge Cutlery, CNS Engraving, Clean Water Systems, and, of course, LAPD Training Facility, all who make the show possible each week.
And don't forget about our folks on Facebook.
Well, I'm getting to that.
If
you got here a little bit earlier and saw that's next.
And your folks on Facebook is your relative.
Yeah, you know what? Cindy Minhold Lukens is wanting to know why you always pick on me.
Well,
Look at you, Ed. Look at you.
Cindy, I don't know what to do with these guys.
Easy target.
Thank you very much.
So joining me today in the LAPD studios, JC, you're actually still sequestered in an unknown location and doing well.
This is social distancing, and it's great.
It was 6 feet, not 600 miles, JC. Hey, your C95 respirator seemed to have taken off this week.
Yeah, I'm actually in the news media up here showing all sorts of people wearing it. So that old red bandana that the Cowboys used to wear seems to be in fashion now. So yeah, it's a good thing.
Yep. So and then last week we talked, JC, about what we called the COVIDiots. Some of the people you see true characters during this time. And you know what? We ask that all the businesses right now are under tremendous pressures, and we're trying to balance staying open, keeping the business running, and we just ask that everyone be patient with those businesses that are still trying to remain open. I mean, we had a situation this week where obviously we're getting through classes that are canceled and refunding folks, and we had someone who jumped the gun and protested a charge on credit cards and all this stuff even after we refunded them. And so we had to spend our time, had to step away from applying for some of these business loans to handle this with the credit card folks. So it's just having extra little patience with people, because right now it is it's trying times. And the other thing too I want to say is remember the character of people now during these times. We had a report last night, JC, and I think I sent it to you, where there's a gun store in town charging $50 for a box of 9mm ammo. $50, seriously?
If it was, yeah.
And it just so happens.
I responded if it was. I was going to say if it was 50 BMG, I would say it was a bargain. But $50 for 50 rounds, come on.
Right, and it
Crazy.
just so happens this same store was one who did this exact same thing the last time we had a run on ammo. So why don't people remember that and not frequent their store after? You need to look at the stores who are staying true to their morals and their values during this time, and remember that during good times, because there's no way that he should be open after all this, having done that. Same with cheaper than dirt. We called him out last week. $1,000 for 1,000 rounds of .223. Seriously,
that's crazy.
And so just remember these when the dust settles.
You said, Eric, to look at the positives, during this. And one thing that I've noticed, and a lot of other people probably did not because they're too young, but I think Ed will remember, and John for sure, and myself, of the blue laws that we had in the United States, where things were closed on Sundays. And we always would say that life was simple. It was simple back then because on Sundays you didn't have a large crowd on the streets, you didn't have the stores open, and it was quiet and it was simple. And I see that now every day of the week, which is kind of nice.
It is.
You know what? Sunday was family time, that's for sure back then.
Right. And you know what? Maybe it's taken something like this to get us all back to thinking that way and back to our roots. Oh, look who just walked in the door.
We got a star.
Speaking of which, you know what? If you look on my sheet right here, if you're watching on Facebook, you're probably seeing more than you want to see. But my father and
what's that supposed to mean?
Well, I was.
Well, he's not in the picture.
Huh?
No, talking about you,
I'm
Ed.
going to talk about him, though. Actually, my father and co-owner sits to my left. Pawpaw, right there in the script, what do I say there? I said, did you see Cardell Jones got his picture in the paper this week as being an employee of LEPD in the off season?
You know how he got his picture in? He stands above everybody else, and so he was in the background, but there he is,
right.
because he's
he
just made another appearance here at the store.
Who let him in?
I don't know. We're closed.
I know. No, it was kind of funny though, because he obviously is family and helped out here during the family business. I mean, legitimately helped out for a couple of days, and it was quoted in the paper that he works here in the off season.
Gotta like that.
Yep. So good to see him, CJ, walking out the door here as well. And Big Ed, you know what? Something important. I didn't ask you this last week, but are cigar stores essential business?
Negative.
Are you serious? What are you doing?
Online, baby.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. That was a legitimate question I had for you. I didn't know if that was.
I can still buy them online. Most of the cigar companies are sending them through the mail.
Okay, when you look at the number of deaths every year, Big Ed.
Yes.
And relating that to the COVID-19 going around, 480,000 people a year die from smoking.
Really?
480,000 a year.
And we've only lost 9,000 so far?
With the virus?
Nationwide?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. So it's just putting things in perspective. We had almost 68,000 drug overdoses. alcohol kills 88,000 a year. And I mean, this is all year.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and so I mean, you add just those three up, and there's some other ones in there, accidents and everything. But if you add them all up, right now we're at 633 or 35,000 deaths a year contributed to those three things right there.
And you have to put it in perspective. I mean, obviously, it's something we're not used to experiencing, and it's right here in front of us. But you have to put it in perspective. And we're going to talk to Lieutenant Governor about this, too. You know what? There is a silver lining to this. If I contend that we might come out of this and actually be able to save lives, because it's giving people a little bit more of a awareness about cleanliness, about being sterile, about viruses and how they work. And if it helps down the road to prevent flu deaths going forward. I mean, we lose, 60,000 people a year with flu deaths? Yeah. Can you imagine if we can enable to affect that and knock off some of that every year? That's a lasting effect. So there is positives that are going to come out of this as well. So you do have to keep it in perspective.
Now, the only negative is that my wife keeps on telling me to wash my hands. And so I'm doing that, but then we're running out of soap. She doesn't keep the soap containers filled up so I can wash my hands.
I'm sure now that she's listening, I think she'll probably have an answer for you when you get home.
I'm sure she will.
If you missed the show, you can always catch the podcast. That's at 610WTVN.com. We're on iHeartRadio, iTunes, and now Google Podcasts. Of course, Facebook is a great place to watch it. Big Ed sits here and he can answer questions live as you send them in, and also during the breaks he can talk to you. Of course, he can't hear you back, but he can answer questions that way as well. So it's a great way to interact with us during the show. If you want to jump in on the show, 614-821-9886 is the number. So I want to give an update real quick on where we stand here at LEPD. Of course, it's evolving. Sorry, I didn't mean to get too close on that. It's evolving. And so what we've done, we've made a place right there on our website. If you go to lepd.com, in the top right-hand corner, you can't miss it. It says COVID-19 update. And that will be the up-to-date information about our hours. Going forward this week, Tuesday through Saturday, starting next Saturday, is we're going to be open 11 to 4, not the range, but again, just having people come to the range door. We can sell ammo. We have plenty of ammo, plenty of defensive ammo. We have quite a few firearms in stock. You can see our current list of firearms on our website, lepd.com. We are updating it hopefully daily to see what's out there. And if there's something that you see out there, send us an email. It's right there within that form, and tell us to hang on to it for you, and we'll hold it until you get here. So it's just a couple of those things we're doing. We're evolving, and we want to, during this time, it's a struggle because we are an essential business, and we still think we provide something to the community during this time, but we also want to watch for our employees and the safety of them. So it's a balancing act, and that's how we're going to be going forward. People with memberships, don't worry. We're going to extend the memberships out once everything gets back to normal. With that, JC, you have about a minute or so before break, and then I'll catch you on the other side, too. You have anything quick?
A minute. Okay. Here's a couple quick ones. We've got some big ones, but High Point in Ohio firearms manufacturer, they have announced that just due to the safety and health and well-being of their employees, that they are actually shutting down their operations during the crisis, including sales and repairs. So we know it's an essential business, but they chose to make that for their employees. So that's High Point up in Mansfield. Another one, this is we know about these lockdowns that are happening. Some countries are taking a little bit more serious. In the Philippines, the president, Rodrigo Duterte, took it a little to an extreme where he just said, hey, this is an absolute lockdown order, stay inside. They've had some people complaining about lack of supplies and have been out kind of rioting. And he just said to the police and to the military and to city officials, shoot to kill. So there you go. When he means lockdown, he means lockdown. So that's pretty amazing. This is a big. I don't know if you want to talk about this now with the Kumo and Remington, or if you want to wait till after the break.
You know what, JC, that's a good one. Let's wait till right after break because that one deserves a little attention.
Well, here's a quickie. Yep. Here's a quickie. The HK for our military during this crisis, we're getting new rifles. 5,000 to 6,000 of the new squad-designated marksman rifles are being shipped from Germany. HK, they're in the .308 caliber, 7.62 NATO, and they're going to be for each squad. So it's a kind of a mini kind of sniper rifle. So it's a squad-designated marksman rifle. Pretty cool. If you have a chance to look at it online, suppressor, bipod, a SIG Tango 6 optic, and they're being shipped in from Germany as we speak. As of Thursday, the first shipment went out. So that's going to be something new for the military.
Great.
But we'll do the Remingtons when we get back. That's kind of a neat story.
Absolutely. We're going to jump to the break, and when we come back, we're going to get to the rest of the news and Big Ed's Gun of the Week. Actually, Ed, this is a neat one, and I'm looking forward to you talking about it. We're on Target broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
You have about a minute here.
All right. Ed, you got a minute.
1 minute. Hello, Facebook fans. Oh, sorry.
It is 80 degrees.
It's
Are you serious?
No, it is
No.
not.
No, it's not.
You're trouble all the way around today.
It's 80 degrees in Orlando, Florida, where I should be.
Well, we can arrange that.
Hey, what temp there, Em?
It is 61.
Hey, Em, when I ask you a question, is that going out over air when you answer?
No, I
Why?
could if I wanted to.
Oh,
I
you
don't know. I
should.
don't think to.
Okay.
I know. I will next time.
All right.
Maybe. I don't know. I already put my headphones away.
All right.
All right, back to Facebook. Hey, wanted to give a shout out to a friend of mine and friend of yours, Eric. It's checked in with us. Old Boom Boom's on here.
I just saw that come through. Big Ronaldo. Good to hear from you.
Yeah,
Give me a
good to
call
see
and catch up sometimes. I was thinking about you the other day.
Absolutely. My brother Mike is watching from Florida. Nice weather there, according to what we just heard. Sam. Tim is going to have a good stogie today. I see that. I'll be joining you after the show, Tim. Looks like my daughter, Cardale Jones, checked in again.
Eric, you have a Warren on the phone.
Warren.
The caller.
Okay. I'll try to get to him right before the end of the break.
If not, I can have him call back.
Yep.
Okay, you guys are coming back for weather.
Your ABC6 first warning weather for today. Lots of sunshine this morning, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. Mild again, high of 68. Tonight, rain moves in late. Not as cold, though, low of 48. For Sunday, scattered rain, mainly in the morning, high of 62. It's currently 61 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610, WTVN.
Reports at the top and 30 minutes past. Breaking news at once. News Radio 610, WTVN.
A winter's day in a deep and dark December. I am alone.
Welcome back to OnTarget.
Gazing out my window.
You know what, guys?
To the streets below. I'm a freshly fallen, silent shroud of snow.
Paul, you don't need to bring that down.
Simon Garfunkel.
Yeah, you know what? That request, that was JC who thought about that. He said he was up there,
really,
wherever he's at, and he's thought about. He was listening to Simon Garfunkel, and the lyrics of that song are so fitting right now, right, JC?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that one towards the end where he goes, hiding in my room, safe within my womb, I touch no one, and no one touches me.
Yep.
I am a rock.
Appropriate.
Yep.
I am a rock. Yep.
'Tis true. So, JC, bring us up to speed real quick on Remington and their relationship in New York.
Yeah, this is kind of about Cuomo too. This is this guy who's really one of the most anti-gun governors out there. He even claimed in 2013 he's going to go after the gun industries. And of course, Remington, a great manufacturer, is located in New York, in Ilion, New York. Well, so he shut them down. So they weren't essential, and on March 20th, he ordered the company closed as a non-essential business. But so what happened? So the president, the CEO, Ken Darcy, CEO of Remington, immediately wrote a letter to Trump and to Cuomo, not to complain about it. He just said, he said, we have 1 million square feet of space. It's now freed up since we've been designated as non-essential, and we want to help. We want to help with the production of personal protection equipment. We want to help with ventilators. We want to help however we can. And, of course, Cuomo, who's been kind of complaining every day, and I'm not saying not rightfully. I mean, people were dying. He wants ventilators. We need more stuff. And so the Remington letter, the president's letter, I'll just real quickly, it says, this is the quote, Remington products have served every U.S. military conflict for 200 years. And while the coronavirus is a new type of war, we're not sitting this one out. We are standing by, ready, willing, and able to support in any way we possibly can. It'd be an honor for our company to donate space for the manufacture of mission-critical products like ventilators, hospital beds, anything else deemed necessary. And he sent that, and guess what? Kumo, zip, zero. As of yesterday, the communications person for Remington said, we haven't heard anything. So I hope he's not so anti-gun as to pass up an opportunity for this company, great company, to help out. But right now, I don't know if he doesn't want to give kudos to the gun industry, but for the president of Remington, CEO of Remington, to offer that and to have no response from his office, from Kumo's office, I just think that's hopefully he's not putting the lives at risk just due to his prejudice about firearms. But
anyway, you know what, JC, it is neat to see these businesses step up. We talked about Otis. They make manufacture cleaning supplies for firearms.
Yeah.
They're doing hand sanitizer now. It's really neat in our lifetime to see. You heard about this during conflicts and years of conflict and stuff, but with manufacturers, GM doing ventilators, it's kind of neat to see the ingenuity of the American people and what we can do. Well, Ed, it is your time for Gun of the Week, and what you have here is really neat, and it's not just a neat firearm in and of itself. It has a little bit of a story behind it. What do you have there, Ed?
Well, today I brought in one of my favorites. I bought this gun about 28 years ago, actually. It's a 6-hour 228. And I bought this gun when I first started law enforcement, actually, when we went from the wheel gun to the semi-autos. I purchased this gun, and I carried it for a long time when I was with my first department, and then also when I went to the last department that I just left. But it's a 6-hour 228, and when I bought it, it was all done in the black. And I had a house fire back in 2003.
Has it been that long?
Yep. And my gun was left in the house on top of the hutch. And I didn't even think about it. Stood out there, waited for the fire department. After it was all said and done, I went back in and I pulled the gun off the shelf, and it was pretty toasted. Didn't melt, but it was, you could see where the heat and the smoke and things had gotten to it, and I was really devastated. So I sent it back to Sig Sauer, and I asked them if they could do anything with it. And they sent me a letter back saying, yes, they could rebuild it, that it was still in working order. So they did rebuild it, and then I asked them to two-tone it as well. And they sent it back with the slide, all two-toned in silver, the screws on the side, the mag release, the slide holder is all two-toned as well. It's a pretty sharp-looking gun for those of you who want to look at it.
Are you going to pass that around? You
Yeah,
want to hold it all day.
yeah,
That's
okay,
part of what
sure.
you do.
You guys should remember that gun because I think
I do.
We were over at CPD, and I took out all those bowling pins with that gun, and you were pretty impressed with that,
Really?
if I don't recall.
I did not realize. I thought that was a different gun. I didn't realize that was the same one.
That was
wow.
the same one.
Wow, you know what? That is nice. And you were saying that it wasn't two-tone initially?
No, it was all black. And
Wow.
I asked them if they could two-tone it. I'd seen one two-toned, 45 caliber, actually. This one's a 9. 13 rounds, one in the tube, and it's probably one of the sweetest guns I've ever had. I love Sig Sauer.
Wow, that's neat. That's a neat firearm, one that's not made anymore.
No, it's not.
And,
And it's small frame, so I can still carry it. I think that's about the same size as my 30S, my Glock 30S.
Yeah. You're missing a good one here, JC. If you're on Facebook,
Yeah,
you can
it's a great gun. They only made that one in 9mm, so
Right.
they when they updated it to the 229, the next version of that, they wanted to make sure that it could do 40s or 45s or other. So the 229 that's kind of the newer version. But that was a fantastic gun, and I'm glad you got it back, Ed, because that's great. Yeah, they stopped making it in the late 90s or early 2000s.
Boy,
So
that is nice.
Good gun of the week,
That's a good one.
Big Ed, and that was brought to you by Rampart, powered by TTG. When we come back from the break, we're going to have Lieutenant Governor on with us. We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range. We're right back after the news.
News, traffic, and weather for Columbus. News Radio.
We all good, Em?
Yeah, he hasn't called back yet, but it's actually a short break anyways right now.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So, I mean, there's...
I'll go right back to him. I'm not going to keep him long, so I'll probably, keep him for 6 minutes or so, and then let him go, and then we'll go to the break, and we'll come back with Rex.
Okay, sounds good.
And if that guy's still on the line or something, I'll try to get to him.
Okay. I'll let you know when he calls back in.
Okay. Coolness. I can't hear the song there.
Politically correct, but it is on target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LEPD studios. My father, Coner Phil, he sits to my left. Big Ed sits to my right. And, of course, JC is self-sequestered in a different state, actually, but he is on with us. We want to go right to, because his time is definitely valuable right now. We have on the line with us Lieutenant Governor John Husted. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
We are good. You know what? I want to first say that on behalf of business owners, law enforcement, fellow citizens, you and Governor DeWine, we want to thank you so much for leading us during this time. And I know you'll catch criticism, and it's not always a perfect environment, but wow, how thankful we are to have the right people in place to lead us through this. So I want to first say that and really say how appreciative we are of that.
Well, that's very kind. We're just trying to let the medical professionals and the science guide us to making good decisions about people's health, while also being ever mindful of the fact that there are economic consequences to the coronavirus. The coronavirus is not only a virus on our health, but it's a virus on the economy. And we are doing all we know to do right now to help thread that needle between those two very important aspects of how people live their lives. And but we know that the real heroes are the nurses and the doctors and the frontline workers on the healthcare scene, who are literally putting themselves in danger to try to save those who have contracted this very, terrible virus that is a very deadly virus. And we just appreciate all the hard work that everybody's pitching in. We say this every day. We're all in this together, Ohio. So many people are proving that with their selfless sacrifices.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I know you've had an extra eye to the businesses, because we are going to get through this. I mean, it's, we will look back on it, and it will be something that for generations we'll say that we've lived through, but we will get through it. And we have to have some of that foresight. And you have led with that, with these, businesses and with, the people out of work at the moment, and determining who's essential. And so you guys, are thinking that way, and we need people to think ahead like that and stuff. Is there anything, any updates on unemployment or anything like that you can provide, or you see coming down the pike soon?
Well, let me just say, one of the things that just came online was the efforts from the SBA to put forward the payment protection program that will serve as a great source of financial support for businesses of 500 employees and less. This is a loan program that you can get access to through your local financial institution or bank, credit union, whoever that might be. And what you do is you go, it takes, as I was told yesterday by many businesses who did this, takes 10 minutes to fill it out. but much of this loan can be forgivable. I know somebody will say, well, hey, I can't take on more debt when I'm in the situation I'm in, but this loan, a lot of it can be forgivable for payroll, for utilities, rent, mortgage, and the like. So this is really a useful tool at helping you get through the lull that exists without putting yourself in further debt. So I encourage folks to contact their banker, credit union, whoever their financial institution is, to help them understand that. And then for small, for say 1099 independent businesses, independent contractors, and people like that who aren't eligible for unemployment, they will be eligible under the CARE Act that Congress passed and President Trump just signed. And that process is underway to determine the eligibility and how that will be distributed. It's still many weeks away before the enrollment opens up for that, but those folks will be included eventually in getting money back out to them so that they can sustain and get through this difficult time. And then obviously our traditional unemployment system has been very taxed. In the last 2 weeks, 468,000 people have filed claims for unemployment. Just to put this in perspective, all of last year, there were 364,000 people that applied. So we had 100,000 more people in 2 weeks apply than we had all of last year. And so we're trying to build the technology capacity and the workforce behind the call center to help serve people. But it's important to know all of your benefits will be backdated to the point that you were first eligible for them. So those are just some of the things that are happening out there that the federal and state government are doing to try to help folks. But we know in many cases it won't be enough, and we're trying to get better every day at thinking about ways to help them.
Right. And you know what? I will have to put in a good 2 cents for the SBA program. Unlike a lot of government programs and things that we've looked at in the past, this was super easy to complete, as you mentioned, and there is some merit to this. I mean, it really encourages businesses such as ourselves to keep people on payroll as much as possible, and we have. I mean, even though we're at a very, very limited hours right now, we have kept a full staff for those who wanted to maintain employment of just clean up, and programs like that have allowed us to do that and have allowed our employees to stay out of the unemployment line. So it's working. I can tell you firsthand that we're seeing it here, and we're looking forward. I mean, we want to look beyond all of this and to how to become a successful business beyond this. So we appreciate all the help that you're doing in that regards.
Well, yeah, it's as I talk to small businesses who've been a part of it, it's really worked well for them, understanding that some banks are in different phases of the application process and availability of it, and it will not, it won't be like flipping a switch. It's not going to be there overnight, but it's a resource that's available that I encourage people to take, business owners to take advantage of.
Right. And something else, too. I wanted to thank you on a personal note, not just from our store, but all the other firearms retailers in Ohio for making sure that we were placed under that essential businesses. And it really, we saw an immediate relief from our customers who knew that we were going to be here, though limited, to fulfill any of those needs that they had for this month. And that really took the pressures off of what we saw, people not panicked and needing to go and pick up an extra box of ammo, whatever they felt was necessary. So I thank you on behalf of the industry here, and we're going to get through it all.
Yeah, these are always tough issues, and trying to build that list and make those determinations. It is, I talk with a lot of business owners who are struggling through this, and others. It's just the strangest thing, because while we have all these people who are on unemployment, we also have critical businesses like grocery stores and healthcare centers and people that are part of the supply chain who are trying to hire and can't find people. There are 23,000 jobs in the last 2 days that have been posted at coronavirus.ohio.gov/job search. So I point that out for your listeners, coronavirus.ohio.gov/job search. There are 23,000 jobs available there for businesses that are part of the critical supply chain for health food and other types of things that we need. So if you're in a position that you can work either part-time or full-time, I always say this, maybe you're a high school senior, maybe you're a college student, maybe you're somebody that's not eligible for unemployment because you worked at a bar or a restaurant and you were only a part-time worker and you couldn't get it. These are the kinds of places that could really use your help. I think it's not only a way maybe financially to help you bridge the gap, but it's also a really super patriotic thing to do, in my opinion, to keep the essential services that people need going.
Right, absolutely, and so, like we've said too, support those businesses that are trying to stay afloat. The restaurants with carry out and anything you can do, it helps. Every little bit helps, and it will get us to the other side. And we spoke earlier that we're optimistic looking here, and we think that going forward, this will maybe actually save lives down the road, because if we as a society become a little bit more conscious about personal hygiene or viruses and bacteria and how they work, maybe we're actually going to see some results in a positive way on flu deaths in years going forward. So we have to think positive and get through it, and we're so fortunate to have you and the governor at the reins.
Yeah, well, if there's ever been a time where you realize how the actions of one person affect the lives, health, safety, and future of another, it's now, because every one of us who practices the social distancing, who uses the safe hygiene habits, is less likely to pass it on to another person. The statistics show that if you didn't put these precautions in place, an individual would pass along the coronavirus to 2.8 in other individuals, and then that just expands exponentially as they infect others. But if you practice the social distancing, and even if you do get the virus, you're so much less likely to infect others. And the more we spread out, slow the spread, and don't overwhelm our healthcare system, which is the goal of this, because the better off we are. Because it is the people we worry about are the people on the front line. The front line in this war are people like nurses and doctors and first responders and nursing home personnel, and the people who are really trying to take care of those who have been struck by the virus. And they don't have the PPE, they don't have the ventilators, they don't have the things that they need if we let this overwhelm them. And so we have to think about how our actions affect the lives of others. And if we, and it's Eric, it's really counterintuitive, because when we think of health, that, we usually want to run into the fire. We want to run to the scene of the natural disaster. We want to come together. But in the case of the coronavirus, it's that coming together that's the problem. It's counterintuitive to who we are as human beings. We have to think about this differently, and how we can really, in the end, help make this go away.
Right. Well, Lieutenant Governor, thank you again. I don't want to keep you any longer, because I know your schedule is tight right now, and you guys have a lot of stuff to do. But thanks for jumping on with us and passing the word. Yes,
if I can jump in here real quick, Lieutenant Governor, this is Big Ed. I just want to say that I'm myself, and I'm sure everybody here, as well as we had some people on Facebook just say that, joined in and said that you and the governor and Dr. Acton are doing a great job. We all appreciate you, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you're doing.
Well, thank you. I tell you what, those kind thoughts mean a lot, and I'm getting ready to go over and join Governor DeWine and Dr. Acton as we do our 2:00 news conference to update people on the events of the day. And those well wishes mean a lot to us. We are all in this together. We will see this through. We will get through it and be stronger when we come out the other side. I believe that in my heart.
Absolutely. Well, stay safe and stay healthy, and we hope to talk to you soon on different circumstances. And if we can do anything, certainly let us know. Lieutenant Governor John Husted on. Yes, take care, sir. So,
hey, a shout out to I got to do a shout out to first line responders.
Absolutely.
The police, fire, the medics. My daughter, my goodness, I worry about her every day.
Yep.
Thank you to all of them, and nurses and doctors the same. We're all behind you, and we're thankful for what you're doing for
Yep,
us.
and we'll get through it. I mean, we'll get through it. This is a challenge, and you see the true character of people during these times, and you're seeing the true character of these first responders and the people on the front lines. When we come back from the break, we're going to jump to my good friend Rex Gore at Blackwing. We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be back right after the break.
It's always fun for me when I go to Alan's Coin Shop.
You there,
Run
Em?
into so many different people
Yes,
doing
I'm
so many
here.
different
Is,
things. I mean, some people come
Rex
to
on?
Alan's because they need a little scratch.
Someone tried to call,
maybe
but I
they
couldn't answer it
inherited a
'cause
few
the way the
pieces
phones
from
are,
dad
but
or
hopefully he'll
grandpa,
call right
or maybe
back.
it's just
You
look,
hang up on
I'm a
him,
little
did you?
short this month, so
No.
here's
I
a few
like that.
things I need to sell so
I
I can
know.
come
I
up
didn't hang
with
up
some
on it.
cash.
I just when
Alan's
two
is
people are on the line,
always
it
there
goes.
for you.
I
Other
know
people
it.
like me
Yeah, if you
looking
get
to
them
add
back,
to their
just
collections. Maybe
message
it's
me.
U.S.
So-
coins, it's world coins, it's gold, it's silver.
I will.
I just want to paw through the big
Yep,
kettle
now
of
Big
wheat
Ed's
pennies,
on.
or I want to look dig in that world coin.
Hey, Facebook friends. Glad everybody's checking in. I want to do a shout out to my mother. My mom's watching, guys. How do you like that? Chris, Mike Conley, thank you for the compliments. Derek Moore, you're right. The governor and the lieutenant governor and Dr. Acton doing a great job. Doing a great job. I hope all of you guys out there on Facebook land are being safe and keeping yourselves distanced, using the wash your hand techniques. Glad you're checking in with us on Facebook. Mom, shout out to you. I hope you're doing well. Miss you. I know I haven't seen you in a little bit. And then I know Dean and Mike and Jessica are all listening and watching the show too. So, Jacob, Tim Shaw, how are you, buddy? How much time we have left there?
20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Here, ABC6 first warning weather for today. Lots of sunshine this morning, giving way to clouds by the afternoon. Mild again, high of 68. For tonight, rain moves in late. Not as cold, though. Low of 48. For Sunday, scattered rain mainly in the morning. High of 62. Currently 62 degrees on your severe weather station. News Radio 610 WTVN.
News Radio 610 WTVN, Columbus's news, traffic, and weather station.
Remember that song, Papa?
Yep.
You know what? It's funny because I go and look at these songs, and I invariably pull up the videos. Oh my! It seemed so cool at the time, you know.
Well, it's still cool, Eric.
Well, have you seen the video for this one? No. It wasn't cool.
Hey, right before we went off the air this last time, you were saying that we'll get through this and everything. And I remember a quote, and I don't know who it's from, and I'll probably botch it up and everything, but it's not what happens to anyone in life. It's how you deal with what happens.
Exactly.
It's how you deal with it. It's not what it is.
Because everything happens to
it.
you, and no one has a life that's without issue and challenges. But what builds the character it identifies you is how you deal with it. You're so right.
The true character comes through.
You're right.
Rex is there.
Yep. So, and speaking of true character.
True.
We have our good friend Rex Gore from Blackwing Shooting Center on the line with. Hey, Rex, was that a good lead-in or what?
Well, that was perfect. I don't know about true character, but definitely I am a character.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's all
We're
where
all
you
characters.
It's all where you emphasize it. Here's a true character. Rex Gore.
Yeah, right.
No, but it's good to have you on, Rex. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Always glad to call in, and we're just up here in Delaware County living the dream like everybody else.
Right. And well, hey, I wanted to bring you on. I mean, you and I have talked numerous times over these last couple of weeks, just trying to collectively see what's the best course to go. And I think our businesses are very similar in how we're dealing with this. I know we're limiting the number of people in the stores, and you've done similar things. What do you think? What are your thoughts? I mean, are you concerned long term, or you think it's just something we need to get through here in the short term and we'll be okay? I mean, you've been in this business for a while. What are you seeing?
Well, it's a crazy time, no doubt about that, and one that I've never seen before. I think most of us, even though some of us are older than others, have not been through something like this before. But, we'll get through it. I mean, our industry's fairly resilient, and operators like you and I, we're survivors, and we'll get through this. We were concerned a couple of weeks ago before we actually shut down the doors with the volume of traffic and the exposures that we were potentially getting, to our staff. So, we shut down really a couple of weeks ago and then reopened the following week with this curbside model, which seems to be working well. We're able to take care of our customers, who were on delay, those who maybe, still needed security products and other things. And so, we now don't allow any customers in the store. We handle everything out in the parking lot. We've gone back to, the old paper 4473 forms. We still do, obviously, all the background checks and all the things that we need. And, it's working. I mean, it'll allow us, to survive through probably the next 4 weeks before we get back to hopefully some sort of normalcy. So, we'll get there. I do want to say, I appreciate what you said earlier, and I want to echo, what you said about people. Be nice. We're all stressed out, and everybody's on edge, and try to play nice, and remember those of us who are there, during these times. And like you said, there are people out there that are taking advantage of the situations, both locally and online. Remember those of us who stood up for the Second Amendment, who were there to support you, who didn't gouge you because of the situation. And hopefully, when we get through all of this, I think, we'll be a better country. We'll be a more compassionate country. And hopefully, the loyalty to those of us who are there for our customers during these times won't quickly be forgotten.
Right. You're exactly right. That's what we've been saying. I mean, it's... we're kind of in, we're, meaning you and I and this industry, is kind of in a unique situation because we are an essential business in a lot of regards. And just like when we talked to Lieutenant Governor, when they made us essential business, we saw an immediate relief in people's eyes that, okay, I don't have to worry about gun stores or ammo, places to purchase ammo getting closed down. And so, it's been difficult at times to strike that balance of providing, a service to the community, a Second Amendment, giving people a means of protecting themselves, yet watching out for our own employees. And it's tough. I mean, we've had many good discussions late at night, and I'm sure you have as well. And so, we're always look to you for guidance, and because you've been through a lot of this stuff. So,
well, I don't always have the best answer, but it's a big burden for us all to carry. And again, we same thing. I go we're both mom and pop operations, and you go home at night carrying that burden of how do I keep 25 people on the payroll through the next 4 to 6 weeks? How do I support the Second Amendment and be there for my customers? And most importantly, how do I keep my staff well? I mean, I would, that's a huge burden to carry, and I applaud, Lieutenant Governor and the Governor and even the President, making these decisions, because they've got, a lot more burden than we do, although,
right.
We carry a big burden. And my wife and I talk about this at night. We talk about it in the morning. What do we do? What's the right decision? And but you gotta use common sense and trust your gut and try to do what do the best that you can. And like I said, we'll get through all this. And sure, people will get sick and businesses will fail. But those of us who have the tenacity and the the willingness to make good decisions, I think we'll survive and be better afterwards. So.
You're right. Well, thanks so much for calling in, Rex, and I'm sure I'll talk to you here soon. And I look forward to the day where we could sit there and maybe share a beer and talk about how we got through all of this. So we appreciate you calling in.
Looking forward to that. Y'all take care and stay well.
All right, we will. Rex Gore, Blackwing Shooting Center up there in Delaware.
I think it's important to say, too, for those of us that are Christians, most of the churches and the places where you go to pray have been closed down. And don't forget your religion. Don't forget your faith.
Yep.
This Sunday is Palm Sunday, I believe, and next Sunday is Easter.
Right.
Even though you can't get to church, it's still happening. I mean, that's still
right. Exactly.
Yeah, and don't abandon your faith.
And I hope that this even brings people closer to that. You know, I mean, it's those times where there's unknowns and stuff, and you hope that people get a little bit closer and they have time to think and time to spend time with that family. So we're about done. I wanted to leave with one thing. We will get through all of this. Of course, there's going to be struggles, challenges, and lasting effects, but this is our time to shine. Our time to show true character, to lead, and to ask yourself, what will others be saying about you, how you acted when our lives get back to normal? How will they view how you handle this situation? So stay true to your morals, your beliefs, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you back at the store soon. Watch our website for updated hours. We're limiting the number of people in, so you don't have to worry about that. We're constantly cleaning. And we'll get through it. I mean, we'll get through it. We'll have something else to talk about in a couple months.
We'll have something to talk about once every week.
That's right.
Well, you know that we always talk about Ed.
Yes, you do.
Well, that is. I mean,
and not to mention the fact that you're on probation. You got here late.
How much time do I have left?
Well, you just added a month.
You just added a month.
John, you got to help me.
JC,
hey, Eric, don't forget, this is our 7th anniversary coming up here on the 9th.
Wow.
The store will be open 7 years on the 9th.
I know. It's
congrats for all the families for that.
Right. And JC, I didn't get to you too much today, but I'll catch you this week, and we look forward to next week as well. Have a good week, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll be back next week.
See you later.
From the Elk and Elk Studios. If you were injured on the job, call the lawyers at Elk and Elk at 1-800-ELK Ohio. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Do you drive a German car like a Mercedes or BMW, or an Audi or Volkswagen, or maybe a Swedish car like a Saab or Volvo, or even a premium car like a Porsche? I know it's painful when you're forced to go to a dealer and pay dealer pricing. That's why I opened ER Auto Care in 2007. Hi, I'm Eric Raver, owner of ER Auto Care. We offer a free inspection with an estimate at every visit, not a labor charge and high-pressure sales tactics like the other guys. And we fix same day or...
I'm here whenever you are. I'm just talking.
Are we doing promos first?
Yeah, let's do promos first.
Okay, talk real quick for me, please.
Real quick, like real fast?
Oh, okay, hold on. It's not recording. Let me see why.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, try to talk now.
Testing.
Oh, yep. We're good. Hold on.
Apparently it's Emily's first day there, Pawpaw.
Yes, it is. I'm ready whenever you are.
Hey, I didn't even get to comment on my shirt today, Em. You have to go back and watch the Facebook Live.
Okay.
I had to go deep. I have a Law Enforcement for Bush shirt on today.
I love it.
So, okay, you ready for promos?
Yes.
Here we go. This is Eric from OnTarget. This week, we update you on the firearms news. Oh, let's try it. Put you on. Okay, hold on a sec.